We are live here tonight. I'm coming from the Machine Lies live stream. I was just on it. I had set this live stream for 11:15 because I wanted to show support to the brother, his channel, his thoughts, his guest. Very deep, man. So I just came from over there and I figured I'll stream for maybe 30 minutes or something over here. I saw Mr. X and Mark over there, man. Thank you guys for showing support, man. I appreciate that. And we were having some pretty good conversation, pretty good conversation. I did want to stream a little bit today, here because I'm trying to stream every single day. So it was great that I'm able to squeeze both of these in to be a guest over there for a little bit and kick it with them and go over some great topics, and then to come back here for this live stream. Can you trust the government? And of course, you see in the picture, I had to put it like Planet of the Apes, man. The judge is an orangutan, the bailiff a gorilla, the the stenographer is a chimpanzee, the jury are baboons. The lawyer for the human is a chimp, another chimp, the prosecutor, a gorilla, or gorilla ape. So, I really had fun, experimenting with this picture because this is basically what it seems like. Can you trust the government? Personally, I would say no, because the government is fiction. The government, you already know. Now, if they're in my favor, it still isn't really trusting them. It's knowing that they're in my favor. So, what is trust again? Trust is like a chance. If I tell you to trust the bridge, like to walk across the bridge, trust the bridge, the bridge can collapse, even if it's a brand new bridge, but the chances are extremely low. 1%, less than 1%, but it's never 100% that you're going to walk across safe. So you're trusting the bridge. And this goes throughout society, trusting people, taking a chance with people. So, can you trust the government? I mean, we are taking chances with the government every day. I remember when I was in the military, one sergeant said, listen, when you wake up, you're wrong. You're sleeping, you're wrong. You're just always wrong. Everybody. This is how it is. It's just a matter of them whenever they decide, if they ever decide to blame you. The movie, The Lord of War, right? Lord of War. I think that's what it was, without the word the. Lord of War with Nicolas Cage and a few other dudes in it. That movie has some extremely profound quotes. When the general came, or the colonel came to get him out of custody with the agent Ethan Hawke was playing, Nicolas Cage walks out and he's narrating in the background saying, look, just because they let him go free that day doesn't mean they won't use him as a scapegoat the next. So he was keeping it real on a level that's very hard to keep it real on. That's like saying, hey, just because this person is doing good business with me today doesn't mean that that they won't try to rip me off tomorrow. And even worse, in prison and used as a blame. And this is a reality. This is a reality. We can say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we can trust. We can, say we're going to use it. I wouldn't even say, now we get into the words to say, okay, is it, if we're crossing the bridge, we're using the bridge because the bridge is in use. And being in use means that we are taking a chance with it, or what somebody might say, trusting it. So that word trust, man, that's a real, that's it's a word that needs to be looked into, because it can border, it's like a firm belief. They might say confidence, but we know confidence can only come from success. Confidence, I think, is not really a good synonym for it. Reliance for dependable action. So a type of relying, you're relying on it. That can fit into it. Faith can be also used as a synonym for trust, but ones that we can understand what it means without having to say, well, I don't really understand. It's like, no, you're taking a chance. Trust the bridge. Don't worry. The chances are high that you will walk across without a problem. Now, if you're walking across a rope bridge, it could still be good, but you might see something and say, wait a minute, this bridge seems a little unstable here. It's like, don't worry, trust it. So now it's easier to understand how trust can mean take a chance with it. And in the name of the title of the stream, can you trust the government? So that it's pretty deep. And the reason I put the apes and the orangutan and baboons and chimps and gorillas as the people or the beings in the courtroom is because that's what it feels like sometimes. It feels like you're surrounded by baboons and primates that actually the scary part of it with the picture is that have some type of bearing on your freedom, whether or not you float or not. So you look at that and you say, holy smokes, this is the person? You know, like when they say judged by a jury of 12, jury of your same peers, if that ever happens, right? It's like, first of all, why would I want to be judged by people of my same peers? Wouldn't I want to be judged by people who are qualified to judge? Because, and that first thing, just that thought right there gets you to see how Planet of the Apes the whole system is. It's like, wait, so you're just going to pick 12 people, and we know how stupid society is. You're going to pick 12 idiots from society and have them judge a person instead of having people that are experts that can look at the psychology of the situation and what has happened and the parameters and, scenario to say, okay, we understand the reasons, the motives, if there's any motives. No, just pick these 10 people or 12 people, and we're going to influence them as well. Because you've had people let go from juries because they wouldn't give a guilty verdict or wouldn't give an innocent verdict. I remember one lady said they told her she could go from the jury when they asked her if she had a problem with convicting a police officer as a juror. And she said, no, if he's wrong, he's wrong. And they said, okay, thank you. We don't need you to be a juror. I mean, the only way I could ever trust the system is if I knew it was for me. Like when you look at these politicians, that's why they're so pro-system. Remember, the president is the presiding officer. He's just another cop. That's what all of these guys are. When you look at them, see, people will say, no, well, that's the commissioner. That's a cop. The mayor, that's another cop. So now when you look at it in that aspects, you got cops, rats, and citizens. A lot of the citizens are rats. Most of the cops are too, but not all of the cops and not all of the citizens. You got some cop. You know what a good cop is? The one that lets you go. That's the way I look at it. Can you trust the government? To that extent, maybe, but not with going through the legal process the way it is right now. Because when you look at the corruption, just what was that thing in Virginia about the woman who called up the chief of police and was afraid of her boyfriend who happened to be a cop, and the chief police warned him. He went there and he fired 10 rounds into her. I think she survived. But this is the type of stuff that people don't hear on the news that just recently happened. I mean, if you look at just the past month, the amount of people that were incarcerated for child crimes, it's not just frightening, but it's saddening. It's sickening when you think about it. And then when you think of those people, all the people that got caught for that child stuff, there's more of them that haven't been caught in government that are openly I mean, look at the guy. What was it? Morris, I think. Robert Morris was the Morris is the so-called spiritual advisor to Tronald Dump, and he got 4 years for raping a 12-year-old for years, not just a single act. I mean, this is a monster. Out of those 4 years, he did 6 months and was just released. Can you trust the government? Well, I don't know. What about, that? So that guy, I mean, if they're letting guys like that go, and then the girl that made the so-called threat on the internet, I think she got 5 years. That's crazy. I mean, that's 1984 right there. Her getting that's 1984. It's like, where's freedom of speech now? Remember, freedom of speech. Just watch what you say. This everything you see that's supposedly this technological cult of death, like one of the previous streams, is it a civilization or a cult of death? And that's what it seems to be when you see what it does to certain people. When you see what happens to the innocent people, that's the crazy thing. That is the crazy thing. You look at what happens to innocent people and it's like, what the heck is going on? It shocks me, man. It really does shock me to see what is happening with everything in society. And government is like not just standing by, but taking money and giving it away to other countries. Nobody is saying anything. They totally forgot, it seems like, about $40 billion that was taken from taxpayers in America and given to Argentina. They'll talk about a couple of $1 billion a year given to certain countries, which is a concern. But being that that's a concern, what about the $40 billion given to Argentina? What about $90 billion this year for some satellites to fly around the moon? Did anybody vote for that? You're starting to wake up. You're starting to see who can we really trust. This is one of those, you think that's air you're breathing moments. It's crazy. It is crazy. We live in a technological cult of death. In saying that, I'm glad it's technological. At least it's not just a cult of death. At least it has technology, right? Which, no joke. Hey, better to have a technological cult of death than just a cult of death. But then as I analyze that, maybe a cult of death that isn't technological might be easier to escape from. That's a possibility. Because as this is getting created, doesn't seem to be no light at the end of the tunnel in this technological death cult. Makes me wonder. Really makes me wonder. But yeah, man, I think I had some pretty good conversation with the Machine Lies yesterday and earlier today, right before I started the stream. Definitely a cool character. Definitely understands what's going on with the government and the machine and everything else. Really deep. I was very happy to be able to go over there and support. And thank you, Mr. X, for hopping over there and leaving a comment or two.
Yeah, I saw you streaming over there, so I jumped in. Yeah, you did a good job, MD. Good way to represent the channel and everything. You know,
Yeah, and
the
showing
other guy was
support.
a little out of it, but
No, I'm happy to show my support to him. He shows support over here. He's a really
yeah,
cool dude, and
oh, he's
the
great.
guests are
He's
cool.
great.
Yeah, the guests, yeah. I put it in the community post so people would know, that I was over there for a little bit, and then that I'll still stream tonight, which I'm trying to stream every night, but as long as I can keep it going, and then hopefully get it to where I can start uploading a video and a short on a regular basis, then it'll be that, and then the community post, then the channel will be, to me, on its way to being what channel, all it can be to try to
Yes.
improve it and stuff, you know.
Yes, I see a lot of bright future in your channel because
Yeah,
you know what's going to happen. The way you keep networking, you're going to hit a spark eventually. And
yeah,
that's what's going
yeah,
to take it off.
yeah.
Something's going to take it off. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very Zach Hubbard, his channel was great, Number Games. He was very, very hospitality, very, very hospitable. I mean, he let me sit on the show, and I was talking on the show for like by myself for a little bit, and he was so nice, man. It was so hospitable. And then another guy was on there. I stayed on a little, and he was like, yeah, he liked some of the stuff that was said, and he came in the chat over here. I got to go back and check him because he streams almost every day, or maybe even twice a day sometimes.
I'm not saying this because, I'm a fan of the channel and I support you and everything like that, but I'm being brutally honest here. I notice when you do go on these channels, like you really outshine everybody else, like as far as making sense, your communication skills, you know what I'm saying? So I see why sometimes you had some bad experiences because I think people get intimidated. You know what I mean? Because you come in with so much knowledge. But I'm just saying, I'm just keeping it real. I mean, it's like when you get on the channel, it starts. You know what I mean? It just really changes the whole channel, the whole vibration. So yeah,
Wow.
I can see why some people get intimidated sometimes. So I'm just telling you that just to expect some
Oh no,
backlash.
no, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, the good people don't get intimidated. The
Right.
intimidation is a those channels that I've been on, and I had to end up just I left out of respect, and people cursing and just going off, and usually I would you've seen before, I would say something, I might roast, but now I'm glad that maturity has
Hmm.
crept in more to where it's like, all right, that's the way you feel, great. And like one stream, I forgot the name, it's like a Gen X cafe thing, and not everybody there is Gen X either, but one of the guys, he just they started saying stuff about like certain politics stuff in other countries, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna leave, I'm hearing too much of this. And he just went off and was like, go F yourself and this and that. And I was like, look, you look at, like you were saying, when you see that type of response, and it's because one, he doesn't respect himself, and then two, I think it was Will Freedom, his name, and
Oh,
and
I heard of that guy. I heard of that guy.
oh
One of the other
really,
channels I
wow,
go, Will
yeah,
Freeman. Yeah, I've heard of him. He's like a troll. He's like a professional troll, actually.
wow.
Because the other channel I go on, that's a
So
more
yeah,
biblical
so
channel, he trolls there too.
all right, so he's a troll, and then he's also like one of the people on the panel on that Gen X thing, which
Hmm.
it shouldn't even be called like a Gen X. It doesn't call Gen X Cafe. It's like in the background of the picture, but they call it something else. It's like some guy Joe or something like that. And but yeah, the disrespect, was like, it showed me like from other ones too that ended up like that. There's a lot of places that people are they're just unhappy with themselves.
Yeah.
The feeling on the Machine Lies was great because that feeling was genuine. Everybody was hanging there, even though there was a little pushback with the guy untrackable.
Well, he was
Um,
drunk. He was
yeah,
drunk.
no, yeah, he was drinking. So it was like, okay, the guy sounds like he works hard and he wants to have a couple of beers, get smashed, and pass out. And I gotta give him credit for, he's doing something that is so hard. It's kind of like the Bronx Tale when De Niro tells his son about the gangster, when his son is like, Sonny's right, the working man's a sucker. And he goes, no, he's not. He goes, you let him get up every day and go to work. He goes, and you'll see who has the stamina, who's the tough guy. He goes, that's tough having to do that. And I do understand both sides,
Hmm.
because that movie was an amazing philosophical and
It
psychological lesson.
was. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
really.
Bronx Tale.
Yeah, I tell you, I said that some of the stuff in there, I mean, and that movie was really good. Like, it showed the part with the girl, so it showed you that the gangster wasn't prejudiced. He, in that scene when he said, listen, you give her the door test, you
Hmm.
open her door, and then when you walk around the car, if she hasn't reached over and pop that lock, you don't, you dump her, and you dump her fast. And she passed the test. I remember doing that in Canada. And not only did the girl reach across and open the door, she pushed the door to where it was cracked open a little, and that was easier for me to open it. And this was like in, I think, around 2006. So I had to unlock the door because everybody's got the push button to unlock it. So I had to do it that way. But the fact that he didn't care in the movie that she was, not Italian, like he goes, oh, so she lives over there. So she's a colored broad. And he's like, yeah, that don't matter. He's like, you just give it a test. If she passed the test, that's it. She's a good girl. And that it shows she's she's not selfish. So the Bronx Tale was great. Mark,
Oh, it's
man, good
great.
to see you, bro. Thank you for being here, brother. Says, yeah, those dudes are real cool. Those lads are very chill. TML, man, I give them a lot of credit, bro. Christopher, good to see you, brother. He says, we have jury duty here in the UK. You picked out of your life and workplace to spend a week to 10 days on jury duty. Yep. And they threaten over here that they're like, if you don't do it, they could charge you with
Yeah,
not, like something with not doing your responsibility or something like that.
I had
And
to
it's,
do it a few weeks ago, so I know. Yeah.
did they at least
Luckily,
pay you decent, or like
no,
what?
they didn't pay me anything actually.
What?
No, no. Well, what happened was first I didn't get chosen. I didn't get chosen, but I talked. They asked, "Can you serve, or is it going to be a problem for you, a hardship?" And I said it'll be a hardship for me because I got to go to work.
Dude,
And so,
but you did it before?
no, I was never selected. I went, I got called in, but I was never selected to be on the jury. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's basically when they call you for jury duty, it's you first have to get selected for the case. You'll hear
Yeah.
about the case,
Yeah.
and then they'll select people to be in the jury. And this was a big case, I guess. I think it was a murder case or something. And he even said people who want to be on the jury, you're probably not going to be on it because they basically weed out 200 or 300 people. They weed them out to get the final jury.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. They
yeah.
definitely ask you a lot of questions, and they because they want to they want to control the verdict. They want to make it look like they're not controlling the verdict by
Hmm.
controlling the verdict. That's the craziest thing, because from, and you can talk about it on a talk show, oh yeah, they changed hundreds of people, right? And
Yeah.
now when they pick those 12 and put them in there, people think, oh no, those are the 12 that there wasn't hundreds of people.
Hmm.
It just, that vanishes from
Right.
the mind, of the zombie. It's sort of like, wait a minute, they handpicked, it's like people. That's what really shows me, man. The NPC, yeah, yeah, the character is there's a lot of people that are out to lunch. That
Hmm.
they are really I see it in my relatives, group of friends. It's just, it's almost it's almost depressing when I think of how defenseless we are against stupidity. It
Yeah.
just, Bonhoeffer, I could see him just being like, man, to come to that. I mean, and Sapola and Musli and a couple of the others were just like, yeah, if you have to deal with them, just remember you're going to take losses. They weren't even being like, hey, you might break even. They're like, no, 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 no. You already know. Let's be real about it. If you deal with a stupid person, it's going to cost you.
Hmm.
You might minimize the cost, but it's going to cost. You're not breaking even. Don't think you're coming out of there ahead or breaking even. Stupid people, that's the power. That's the power. They will screw something up. They will screw something up. I also wrote in some of my writings about stupidity that I think it's contagious. So in the law from Cipolla, which or Bonhoeffer, when he was saying that it seems more sociological than psychological. So when we get around other people, we see that in some way it amplifies it. When you get two stupid people together, it amplifies it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And in some sense, it just seems to me like it's contagious. And like, because we can act stupid and then fall into that and then continue on acting, not even knowing that we're acting anymore. And
Hmm.
it's like, wait a second, I'm not normally this stupid. Why am I doing this? And say, oh, because I'm hanging out with these stupid people.
Yeah.
And you know, and people will start to be like, yeah, man. So if I when I notice when I don't hang with these stupid people, I just have a better time. I accomplish more stuff. So maybe um I can accomplish more stuff if I stop hanging out with these people. And that is a big part of it. That there was something about loneliness where uh who was it? I think it might have been Tesla, but he was talking about how don't let your loneliness like the desperate make you desperate.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
like I clearly relate to that because there's people that I shouldn't really be talking with, but the loneliness, the desperation, like you say, man, there's nobody that I can talk to about certain subjects
Yeah.
except for certain people. And sometimes those people, everybody gets busy,
Sure.
Um, so yeah, yeah, it's just like,
That's why I appreciate these streams, you know. Talk about the subjects that I like to talk about, because believe me, there would be nobody outside of this.
um,
Uh,
thanks, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk with you on here too, man, and everybody in the chat and people that come on. TML is real cool. Yeah, those lads are very, very chill, man. I really enjoyed being over there, and I was very happy to have him come over here. It's like an honor, when he
Oh,
came.
absolutely. He's
I
great.
was like,
Yeah.
wow, man. But yeah, I see what you're saying with the other streams. The people that get intimidated. Uh, it really shows more about them. Like I'm happy to let somebody come. When Zach let me hang out on the stream when he had to go do his thing and then he came back on. Uh, it was like, wow, this guy is so cool. He's just so cool, like a genuine person. And it's like, I mean, I would love to repay the favor. People like
Sure.
TML if he's here and I'm making a cup of tea or coffee or saying, hey, you guys, like you've done it, just hanging on the stream. Scribe is, did shows like, yeah. I talked to him earlier
Well, me,
today.
if I had my own stream, honestly,
Mhm.
and let's say we didn't know each other, I hadn't dealt with you before, but you came on and you expressed yourself like you normally do, I'd say, oh, wait a minute. I want to make you a co-host, just come on anytime and you'll automatically be a co-host because, in my mind, I'm thinking this guy adds value. He can help my stream. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Because my
appreciate
whole thing,
it.
it's not about me. It's about making a great stream. If that was my goal, it's to make
I
a great
appreciate
stream.
that. Wow, bro, this is Zach Hubbard, the numbers game. Hey, good to
Oh,
see
wow.
you, man. He says, just come on my show anytime. You were great. TML comes on sometimes too. Thanks again. Wow, wow. So he went on. That's so cool. Thank you, bro. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out, man. I
Yeah.
definitely got to check his stream out. He streams usually like in the daytime, and I think I might have been on like a lunch when I had first caught him,
Mhm.
and it was great. I mean, the show was great. TML is cool, and just being around like the other shows that I went on when people, were a little bit cruel, it's worth going through that because then I meet cool people like TML, Zach, other channels I've been on where people have been cool too, Um, yeah, yeah. I mean,
But you
there's
can tell there was a little bit of, there's also some hot, not TML, but some of the other guests sometimes can be a little hostile and this and that. It's just, you got to blow them off though. Don't take them seriously. You know what I mean?
well, actually, if people are drinking or anything, it's cool, because I know some
But that's
people.
not the channel for it. Like in the old days, the BP channel, like
Mhm.
Smash. Okay, I came on a couple times drunk, but I thought that was appropriate for the for the topic. You know what I mean? Because we were roasted, we were doing crazy stuff.
One
You
of
know what
my
I mean?
one of my friends was telling me, he goes, most of the people that do shows, he goes, I'm one of the few people that are straight when I
Hmm.
do a show. So the most, it's like sometimes when we stream late, I'll be tired, so I'll drink tea, coffee. Sometimes I'll eat something, I'll feel like kind of lethargic or sluggish, and then sometimes you dip in and out. as it
Sure.
gets later. So like that, and that's what makes it so great with Scribe coming in sometimes, because there's been a few times where he saved me, because being that we have the medium thing on StreamYard, he can end the streams, and he could make streams and start them, but he can also end it. So like if he came on and I left the stream, like usually I'll send him a note saying, look, I'm going to lay down, and he'll be like, all right, and he'll just hang out with whoever's on the stream. And the stream, sometimes it'll be a few hours. Like when Gauss came on that night, I think he
Mhm.
stayed on for like 3 hours after. So
Yeah.
Scribe, I really appreciate Scribe doing the show sometimes. You, when you help out, when you're like, if I'm making something or if I got to check something,
Yeah, I mean, I'm a supporter. I look at myself as a supporter.
yeah, you support the show, you do the co-hosting. Um, the StreamYard like packages I've seen, I don't even know, they used to have it where, because we pay 45, I pay 45 a month. They have
Mhm.
one for 89, so like $90. But it used to be where you can have four co-hosts. So we could have put you in there as saying you can start a show, you can schedule it, you can end it. So if I said, okay, I'm going to go lay down, you could just continue running the show and then end the stream. When you want to end it, you could pull on anybody. So you got the same abilities as Scribe and myself on
Mhm.
the screen as a, I guess as a technician or something. I forgot what they call it. And we would have a slot for somebody else too. But now they changed it to where, yeah, I think it's as much as like $50 for each seat, because I think they call it
Oh,
a
wow.
seat. Yeah, and I was just like, man, that's crazy. But if somebody's doing professional radio, it's actually a pretty, reasonable price, because it's like saying, okay, you're paying 50 a month, not just to be the co-host, but also to be the host as well. But it was a much better deal when you could get four for the 89.
Mhm.
But we never, I think we had that for free for 1 week. Sometimes they'll give promos. And I think with that, you can have 10 people on, but you can also have five more backstage. Like right now, if 10 people were on the panel, it would say
Mhm.
somebody's trying to get on. It wouldn't show me nobody backstage. But if you
Oh,
got the,
wow.
the next plan, it would have five slots. So I could say 10 of us are on, and I could say, okay, look, I'm going to put you backstage and I'm pulling on so and so. I'll be able to see the other five. And if anybody beyond those five want to come on, that's when I'll see the little sign again that says somebody's trying to get on. It's not that I got to throw somebody off. It's just saying if I want, it's letting me know. It won't tell me who it is, but I guess you could talk to them like Nutshots. I remember telling me he talked to them like through the chat, and had like a special thing made where he could have 20 people on or something. But that was back when it was 25 a month, and they were just like, I wouldn't say they were just starting, but they were, not as advanced as they are now.
I guess once you get a consistent amount, like six people, it gets, crowded, then
Yeah,
you can
but
upgrade
even,
the plan. It
let's see,
makes sense.
and I can't, as much as it's fun to have a lot of people, I think that even just when you and I or Scribe and I have
Hmm.
really good conversations, or a really good guest comes on, I think it's good. Like with Sosa, that was good. He
Yeah.
stayed on for more than 2 hours. And um, I got to contact him to see, because he did tell me, he goes, look, man, if you want to come on again. Oh wow, it's Azroom. What's up, man? Good to see you, bro. Always,
Hmm.
man.
Well, I think it's also the quality of the people that come on. If they're respectful, they don't talk out of turn, they don't just blabber on nonsense
Hmm.
like the old streams, and you know who I'm talking about.
Hmm.
That's the issue. You know what I'm saying? People can
Yeah,
go have a nice back and forth dialogue, and you have a beautiful stream. It's just
yeah,
bringing in the right, people who are respectful.
yeah, yeah. No, definitely, man. It's and the communication, it's healing with good people and spreading ideas, seeing
Mhm.
that, hey, you know what? Do you see what's going on too? And it's not like everybody's angry. We're just acknowledging that we're acknowledging the same thing, saying, look, this is
Yeah.
not a hallucination, because other people are saying, no, there something's going on psychologically. Uh, we see the things with the physical stuff, data centers, all of
Yeah.
the cells and technology, radio waves. Um, So yeah, it's just like writing. There was a saying that said sometimes only paper will listen. And I know this, like I keep pads and pens around me because I still write down a lot of stuff. Like I'll not write anymore like I used to, where I would write in a book and like a page or 2 pages. So if I got to write like a page, I'll type it. But if it's like a paragraph or something, or even like a long list, I'll write it out. Um, and it feels good to still write a little. It
Hmm.
it, it definitely because I didn't have, when I was on the show and I was saying about the zoo or the farm or the lab, I got a piece of paper and I wrote it down instead of like opening up Notepad on the computer, because I was just like, let me just write it down. And also when you write something down, I just, for some reason, it's like I remember it better sometimes,
Mm.
because it's like writing it does something like, it's sort of like maybe thinking that you're walking and actually walking. Like they had an experiment that I read about where they had a basketball team have uh, the players, like certain players, would just visualize themselves for 20 or 30 minutes a day, throwing the ball through the hoop, so in their mind, they're practicing, and the other group practiced for 3 weeks. And I think the result was both showed the same type of improvement.
Wow, look at that.
So now, with doing both of those, so not just the physical and not just the mental separate, you combine it, that would be like, talking about something and then also writing it down. Because
Mm.
when I thought about that and I had to think of the three things, and I said, yeah, it seems like the the easiest one would be the zoo, because we're just in a zoo and we're being taken care of at least.
Right.
Even in zoos, you got some deplorable conditions. The other two are just scary. I can't even think of any non-scary benefit of being an experiment in a lab or a farm animal. The farm animal might not be as bad until the day you're going to get butchered. So, like the farm animal, honestly, because the zoo, you're going to live out your existence in the concrete zoo. The farm, you might get taken care of to get fattened up to get finished, or you might be raised like a factory farm, so it's still torture, like this.
Hmm.
Or the lab, which the lab, again, I don't see the it's a no-win situation, because not only are you imprisoned in something that's worse than a zoo, because you don't even have interaction with anything but the experimenter, the scientists, and it's unknown. So you don't know, who knows what they're doing. I mean, when you look at some of the experiments, it's beyond Frankenstein. Some of the ones I've
Yeah.
read about, I have this book, Alternatives to Pain, about doctors that, had better ways of doing it. Oh, he left a comment. Zach says, I have to drop off. Great conversation as always. And for your information, I might steal the name that maxed out for a children's story I'm writing. It's perfect. Have a good night. Or yeah, brother. Always, man. Always. Yeah,
Hmm.
bro. Yeah, I'm glad Zach's a cool dude, man.
Yeah. But
Exactly.
the only thing about human experiments, um,
The what? Are you there, Mr. X? Christopher says written word makes you remember deeply. Yeah, man, I definitely feel like it does, man. Yeah, I definitely got to check numbers game tomorrow, man. Zach Hubbard, man. Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Definitely children's stories are maxed out. I think Mr. X, I thought he was off tonight, but this was the previous stream, I think. civilization or cult of death. Everything is under control. So we do have that. And yeah, yeah, man. There's an old saying that that was saying that when you're a good person, you don't lose people, people lose you. So as going over some of the sayings and good stuff, um, let me see. Oh, Mr. X said he has a phone call. Okay. Um, there was something I was going to show. Where is it? Okay, I see it. Yeah, but when I was talking about the good person, when you're a good person, you don't lose anyone. You never lose anyone. The people lose you because you're a good person. And a lot of other things like just philosophy, understanding philosophy can lead to an understanding of psychology a little better. And psychology, philosophy is like understanding what the tool is and can do. And psychology is actually using the tool to do it. So that psychological understanding, um, it it allows you to say, oh, this is how I defend myself or how I navigate the verbal landscape with other people or the psychological landscape, because there is a psychological landscape
Mm.
that we all go through every day, even at night, even through dreams. And thinking about psychology, when you look at things in certain ways, uh, you it makes life easier, and it gives life a different meaning.
Definitely. Definitely. Oh, sorry about that, MD. I got a phone call.
Yeah,
That's why it
yeah.
cut off. But I
In
was
the
going to ask you because you said the United States of experiments, but I think these experiments have no borders. And I'm wondering if it's more intense in some of these underdeveloped countries, in the third world, where, you know, basically human rights is non-existent. You know what I'm saying? Where these drug companies or whatever experiments they're conducting, they can just have free reign and then there's no pushback. Did
but
you ever think about that?
I wonder if that really it is that really the truth in saying that,
Mhm.
not saying that they don't have some atrocities, but in saying that we don't have either equal or worse atrocities. And that's what I think is, because I could think of instances
Mhm.
here that people have had some really, like look at Flint, Michigan, right?
Oh, sure.
You had people, I don't know if people died from that. Let me
Well, like organ harvesting, for instance, we probably don't see it here that often, but I bet it happens rampant. It's rampant in other countries where people are just getting taken out for their organs. You know what I'm saying?
well, I mean, I
I
think
should
that
look that up. I'll look
just because it's not open, it's like, okay, you got, from the statistics, they say about 400 to 500,000 kids a year in the US go missing.
hmm
So right there, isn't that telling us like a percentage of that would be trafficked, maybe, or no?
Definitely. No, definitely. I wonder if it's even worse though in other places. You know what I mean? Uh,
Possibly,
yeah,
possibly.
I think this thing with young kids is honestly, it's on a level that we're
Yeah,
just
that's
completely
just
unaware of.
yeah, yep.
Yeah, the demand is like so high that we're like walking, we're like sheep, unaware of how bad it is. It's why way worse than what we know
I
of.
don't know if you saw, I don't know if the guy's a judge or a sheriff. I think he's a judge, and he has videos on YouTube. Like there's he doesn't have like a channel, I think, but there was a couple of clips of somebody filmed him talking, I think in chambers, saying talking about people breeding children as a cash crop. I mean,
I believe it.
it's crazy. And this is a YouTube video.
Mhm.
Um, I forgot the name of it, but it's I think it's a judge or a sheriff that's talking about it.
Yeah,
That people are doing that, and that there's a whole network. And if you messed with it, who's the guy from Soundgarden, and then the
Hmm.
other singer, I think he's from Linkin Park. Both of those guys tried to make a documentary. I heard ended up,
Really?
yeah, saying that they ended themselves, but it didn't look like a self-ending. And I mean, who was the other? I don't know if she was a governor. No, she was a attorney general, I think, and her husband. I think they were from Arizona, and she was talking. I think she wrote a book and was doing interviews about child protective services being like a trafficking, child abusing organization.
Wow.
Her and her husband, they said husband killed her and then committed suicide.
Hmm.
So, of course, probably isn't that. It's, goes back to the stream. Can you trust the government? Of course not. In instances like that, I wouldn't, you know. I mean, it just, well, it's not a matter of trust. It's a matter of belief. I wouldn't believe them because it's like you really believe these people that were exposing CPS just ended themselves.
Yeah. No, definitely, definitely. It's the problem's far worse than what we realize. I mean, I think back to those Dateline shows. They go to some small town,
Hmm.
they get a younger underage kid, and they had no shortage of people showing up, and these were small towns.
Yeah,
So imagine on a worldwide basis, it's probably way worse.
yeah,
Yeah, we're just unaware of it, how bad it really is.
yeah. No, it's true. It's at a point where it is beyond horror movie. Azrain, what's up, man? Good to see you.
Oh, hello, MD. Hello, Mr. X. It's good to see you too, MD. I took a break today. I thought I'll be on the show for some time. So today, nothing I'll be doing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, man. Mr. X was bringing up some good points.
Mm. I'm
yeah,
just wondering in these other countries if they use them more as lab rats. You know what I mean? Like, let's
Yeah,
test this thing
yeah,
out and see what happens
yeah.
before they bring it over here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, Chile. They a lot of tests over there.
Yeah.
What was that when Pinochet and was it Mengele, one of them?
Yeah, he went there. He was in South Africa, I think. Oh, South Africa, South
yeah.
America.
Yeah,
Argentina.
Argentina.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was
yeah, yeah.
definitely there, 100%. Yeah.
and they're saying that um, Trump bought beef from Argentina after giving the $40 billion, and they had the screw fly worm in them. And then
Mm.
they had an infected horse. It got to Mexico, and they're saying now it's in Texas. So now there's a new, because it's mostly regulated to South America.
Hmm.
But now, just like fire ants had came up and they destroyed a lot of stuff throughout the Texas and the Midwest. I don't know if you've ever encountered them before.
No, I haven't. I
Yeah,
haven't.
fire
Yeah.
ants are, yeah, if you look at certain fields and stuff, I mean, fire ants, if fire ants will, I would think fire ants could kill a person if they were like, say they fell and broke their leg or something and couldn't, like was, even if they were unconscious for a certain period of time. I've heard of ants going into people's lungs, like through their nostrils and killing them that way too. I
Hmm.
remember reading something about that like years ago. Like army ants, people have matter of fact, if you fall in something and can't get out in a certain amount of time, they can off you that way too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like because they'll be all over. It's kind of like bees. If you can't get away from certain, yeah, you already know. It's straight. The killer bees. Matter of
Mhm.
fact, bee killer bees are I think responsible for a good few deaths every year.
Sure, sure.
It says here that, yeah, 12 people. Uh, the state data from Flint, Michigan, the Flint water crisis, recorded 12 deaths from Legionnaire's disease. outbreak that occurred in 2014, 2015. And over 10 years and it's still nothing happened. This is crazy.
I know it's a robbery because they're going to the moon, no problem. But clean water, that's we can't afford
Yeah.
that.
$90 billion going to the moon. That's crazy, man. That is literally like, man, it's like Flint, Michigan, 12 people, and other people, it says people got miscarriages, all type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, man.
I guess I'm just looking at the perspective. I know it's bad here in a lot of places because you can see these videos. It's terrible, like third world countries, but most of the world is pretty bad off. You know, it's if you look at the majority of the world, it's incredible poverty. You know, they in India, I think they all sleep on the streets out in the in bed,
Yeah.
sleep on the yeah. You know
They,
that, bro, right?
definitely.
Poverty off the chain.
You're right, Mr. X. And a person from one of the Western countries came and ate street food over here. I think it was the US or England. When he ate street food over here, thinking that it might taste good, after a few days he had worms in his brain.
Ooh,
Yeah.
God dang. I've seen some of those videos with the guys doing the food there, man. That's
Yeah, it's very unhygienic.
Mm-hmm.
holy smokes, man. That's
And they defecate in the streets in certain those big cities,
Yeah,
Punjab and
yeah,
everything like that. Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of like
they
that's
do.
San Francisco, right?
The
that's
the
not.
starva- the starvation rate over here in some parts of India is even worse than sub-Sahara Africa.
Oh, I
They're
believe
like,
it.
yeah, it's like really bad actually in North India especially. So the if you say trust the government, all the government ever does is take bribes. They'll set up a bureaucracy over here, a department. That bureaucracy will eat more money. For everything you'll have to cough through your wallet and your bank account. So trusting the government is impossible over here. Imagine this, like you being the government, you're supposed to protect the citizens, and when one of the ministers was jailed being a politician, hookers would come and visit him in prison, and the prison guards were bribed so they would allow it to happen.
Yeah.
Wow, man. That's yeah. I heard the corruption in India is off the scale, man. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
wow.
definitely. And the worst part is, in Bengal recently elections took place. The In any country you're supposed to secure the borders. So Pakistan's ISI, it's like what do you say, it's a spy agency. They had actually paid a lot to the chief minister candidate Mamta Banerjee to allow more people from Bangladesh to enter into Bengal and to flood that whole northeast region with Bangladeshis and make India lose that chicken neck border next to China. China and Pakistan had concocted this plan. The ISI also killed two people from the Bharatiya Janata Party, assassinated them. All of it was uncovered on by this person called Arnab Goswami on his news channel. So trusting the government is impossible, MD. They'll like actually like they're ready to do anything. They'll kill their own family members to stay on top. They're very I don't know. The evil is also they're beyond evil actually.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is like, that's messed up, man. The fact that they would do that to their family, now it's like you're doing some straight Games of Thrones type of stuff. Oh,
Yeah. Definitely. This is bad. And China also, I checked out how the corruption rate is. Whatever they
uh-huh.
show you, these YouTube bloggers are bribed by the CCP to show how progressive China is. But one Indian went over there and exposed how bad China is in the rural regions. There's no difference between India and China. In some ways, it's even more worse. The CCP is extremely corrupt actually over there. And one of the CCP members, he increased the police force just to protect himself. And the Chinese Communist Party's army, they're like mercenaries. They're meant to only protect the party's political interests. There's no joint command like the way they have in the US between the Air Force, military, and the Navy. They just hired guns to protect the Chinese government. That's it. And many people make their money and run away from China. It's not doing well. All the rivers are polluted. In the name of development, the government really did a 180 on all the people of their nation.
Wow, that is messed up, man. That is like I've heard, and people have told me about. I remember one guy I was in the military with. He was born in India, and he speaks Canada. Um, and we're pretty good friends. I think he stays in Virginia or Maryland now, and really cool guy. He was telling me that I think he grew up there till he was 9. His family had a restaurant in South Carolina here called A Touch
Okay,
of India, and
okay,
I knew him when we were in the army together. And then he told me that if I were to, like, he said, if I were to have like $1 million, I could go and like run a town over there or something like that. Like he was telling me how everything's for sale. Like it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
it's so corrupt that, but he said, I could do something good, like start a good town. But he said it's so corrupt that might even be hard because everybody's so corrupt. They don't want to see something good exist. But I don't know if that's true. Is it?
Yeah, definitely, MD. Just see, like, when you're going to get property in your name, like, the parents will have to transfer the title of deed in the registration office to the children, right? Just to do that, how many bribes we had to pay for the to the bureaucrats? It was crazy, actually, MD. We had to bribe people just to transfer the property into our name, our own property. It's like, see, the US has its pitfalls. No country is perfect, but India is like something else, actually. Indians today, I hate to say this, but most of them have become so desperate because of poverty. They'll do anything for money, power, and sex, MD. They're not to be trusted, most of them. Especially you go to the northern part of the country, it's filled with rogues, actually. The poverty there is even more than in the south. The southern part of the country has progressed a bit. The birth rates over here are falling, and it's not doing so well. But north is a mess, actually, MD.
Holy smokes. That's
Yeah. See, what we got is nothing compared to the rest of the world. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like really holy smokes, man. That is so that's northwest India. Is that's near Kashmir, right?
Yeah, Kashmir, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Haryana,
And over
Himachal
there,
Pradesh. These
that's
are all the
where
northern states, and
and
they're not doing well.
are they like having a war with Pakistan, or is it just that they're not doing well?
No, they're not doing well. The corruption there is too strong,
So
actually.
their
And the
own
government,
corruption
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
killing them.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So
Holy smoke.
the government promises a lot of freebies, and the government is also bankrupt in some of these states because of giving excessive freebies.
Wow.
And then they take bribes to fill their coffers so that they can win in the elections. Here at one point, CMD, like, drugs are there, right? The liquor is also, alcohol is also just a drug. So at one point over here, the liquor lobby was so strong they could collapse governments only. The governments would go and suck up to them. They, in the 90s and 80s, they were very, very powerful. The liquor lobby, they could easily like replace ministers only if they wanted to.
Wow.
As Maroon, isn't the abortion rate very high in India because of the
Yeah,
dowry
yeah, yeah,
system?
yeah, yeah.
So
Correct,
imagine all
correct.
the fetal tissue that's sold out of there, you know?
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
to mention.
definitely. You're 100% right, Mr. X. What happens is that in many parts of India, the a female child is considered inauspicious for the family. So they will go to a clinic and check the fetus of the child in the womb if it's a male or a female. The problem is that still in many parts of India they take dowry when when the girl child is born. The girl's family will have to give a lot of dowry to the boy's family in the form of land, in the form of vehicles and cash. That becomes too much of a burden when the girl grows up. So why go through all that burden, and they'll have the child aborted when they get to know that the fetus is a female one. The
Hmm.
It's become so bad that in Punjab the ratio between males and females has decreased severely. Males outnumber females, so two brothers sharing a woman, all that is very common over there. Same thing in my state, in Karnataka, Belgaum and Mandya. These two are towns in Karnataka, actually. Like, over here, what's happened is that female infanticide has become so rampant that the male to female population is very unbalanced.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
Look at that right
Wow.
there. That's real oppression right there.
Yeah, that's like
yeah,
it's not to say that things aren't, can't be bad for people that are being tortured over here, because there's definitely, you hear about somebody, not a lot of people, but as far as we know, not a lot of people, who knows, but 500,000 kids disappearing. But what you're saying is on another level of,
Yeah.
that's some, like, holy smokes. I can imagine with the China stuff, and even throughout Europe and Russia, there are a lot of even videos about it. They have one that I saw with the kids of Mongolia in Ulaanbaatar. That's the
Hmm.
capital.
Mm.
And it's sad. They're living in the sewers by sewer pipes to get heat. And that's, Mongolia is pretty far north. So, you're getting some a little bit cooler weather than, the other part of China and stuff, because Mongolia, I think, is on the top of China.
Yeah, yeah. But the problem with Mongolia is it's got the highest air pollution in the world. Amount of trees is too less. It's like a steppes, right? Like open grassland. So
Yeah.
air pollution there is the highest in the world.
Wow. Wow. It's really sad because in the city, when you look at the fact that some kids, what they have to go through. I remember this guy
Yeah.
I knew, he worked in the flea market. He had a jewelry cleaning business. He was from Uzbekistan. And he was telling me he was a Russian dude from Uzbekistan who was Jewish. And he, a really cool guy, Yuri. He said that he goes, in Uzbekistan there, next to Mongolia and all of that, that
Mm.
I think Kazakhstan, was it Kazakhstan, is touching Uzbekistan.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And something came up, and I remember he made like a joke saying, uh or you can get your wife, like he was telling somebody, you can get your wife the old fashioned way, like in Kazakhstan, and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kidnap her. And
Kyrgyzstan. That is Kyrgyzstan, MD.
Kyrgyzstan, okay,
Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
was like, you got to be kidding me. And then I saw a video on it. They
yeah,
got
yeah.
a YouTube video. I was like, it's, man, yeah.
I
As
saw
a
the
rule,
video. Yeah, yeah. Yes, Mr. X.
I just wondered, do you have kid gangs in India, like gangs of kids who rob and everything like that?
Yeah, they'll be instigated by the adults. The adults will do it. But what the adults do over here is they'll take the child, like, and then they'll chop his hand or leg off, make him beg and take that money and use it for themselves.
Oh wow.
So in some parts, actually, the birth of a female child is considered so inauspicious. If the, like in this family in Rajasthan is also a state in India. In the rural parts, a girl child was born. So the family was given a choice by the village: either you vacate the village or you kill the girl child. So when it was just a baby, they put it in a pot of milk and watched it suffocate and die. My friend saw it in the video. So in that village in Rajasthan, a girl child being born first is considered highly inauspicious. So the family can either leave or they'll have to get rid of the girl child. It's horrible, actually, Mr. X. It's India is a failed state.
Yeah, I mean that's zombie control on another level. To think that
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
going to bring that much pain. I mean, what people will do. That's what I'm saying, MD. It's like we got nothing compared to these other countries. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I wouldn't say nothing. I mean, when you look at,
But
I'm not saying it's as bad as that, but if you got kids missing 500,000 a year, if it was like, even if it was like 40,000 a year, what do you say to that one child, right? What do you say? Well, these people over here, it's worse.
no. I wouldn't say that. Of course
Yeah,
not. No,
come
I'm not
on,
saying
come
that.
on.
I'm just saying it just gets
Oh,
worse. Is
yeah,
all I'm saying.
it's
Yeah.
something is going on. It's as if they want people to suffer.
Hmm.
It's so weird. Like, are they pulling energy off of that? Is something happening? What is going on? Are they? I mean, scientifically, there's probably a way to pull some type of energy from grief and fear.
Hmm.
Maybe, so what if there's some type of beings that feed off of that would not be physical like we might think physical is in the physical sense,
Sure.
but or maybe something is using a type of machine to pull that off of us
Hmm.
somehow. But this constant like you're saying, the stuff going on in India, the stuff in China and in Mongolia and Kyrgyzstan, across the US, Europe, Russia, uh, all throughout Africa and other countries, India. I mean, what I don't think, it's definitely not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Why is this happening? You see what I'm saying? It's not scarcity is manufactured. If we're thinking that, well, scarcity, they got us thinking that once it happens, it's hard to get rid of it. It's like, no, it's actually easy. It's actually manufactured. They won't let food come to certain places to keep, this is how they didn't the British do that to India back in like the late 1800s?
Yeah,
Taking
yeah,
food, starving people, sending it to Russia, to England. I mean, whatever it is that's controlling these humans is it understands how to very it's like stifle and oppress and just it like forcibly change the human population through oppression and murder and torture, basically, because living in certain conditions like ghettos and stuff like that is pretty torturous.
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
I'm saying if they're going to have a civil war, if they need to depopulate, they're probably going to start in the third world. Because I
yeah,
look at
yeah.
this as more of a global government than each, it's like it's all under one umbrella at the end of the day. And they're going to say, if we need to depopulate, we're going to start in these countries first.
Well, who do
Put
you think is going to do that?
No, I'm just saying it's on a global scale. These leaders, they all work together. Just let's say for the AI revolution, if they decide one day to depopulate, it's going to start in other countries. What is it?
I
India
don't
has over
know.
1 billion people, I think. Over 1 billion. We have like 300, 400 million, but they have way more than us.
Yeah, but wouldn't they depopulate, like with all the data centers are usually over here, or is there a lot in India
Oh,
and stuff?
I think they're worldwide. I'm sure these
Yeah,
data
yeah,
centers are
definitely.
looking on a global level, not just the United States. So
Is there a lot in India, Azrun, that you know
I
about
can look it
data
up.
centers?
Not much. How India gained a foothold in the IT industry was we were just doing it for cheap compared to Americans.
Uh-huh.
Skill-wise, Americans and Indians are the same, but we do it for a very cheaper rate. So they found it easy to outsource it, and they bought a lot of these data centers, these call centers to our country. But
Uh-huh.
because the cost of labor was very cheap, but now
Okay.
with AI coming into existence, even the IT industry over here will collapse. India made a
That's
mistake by
crazy.
yeah,
It's changing.
India made a huge
Melissa,
mistake. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you,
It made
Melissa
a
Crocker. She said he was sent by Zachary Hubbard, sent to subscribe. Thank you so much, Melissa. Appreciate that. We have the link pinned to the top of the chat if you do want to hop on. Thank you. I appreciate it. Go ahead, Azrun. I didn't mean to. You were
yeah,
saying about the data centers, right?
yeah. They'll go away because AI is going to replace many things that even people do for cheap. The cheap labor thing, the era of cheap labor and MNCs using cheap labor to in third world countries to make a lot of profit is over because AI will replace human beings at an alarming rate. What AI does is what AI can do, like analyze the stock market. It does it better than human beings. So why do you want human beings anymore?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be in an even more desperate condition. So many people over here who've completed their engineering degrees, their even their PhDs are unable to find jobs. Actually,
Wow, that is crazy, man.
Mhm.
I mean, the AI centers being more over here. You see, Mr. X, that just makes me suspicious. The fact that there's not a lot of AI centers over where Varun is, but the
Mhm.
oppression physically on people and kids is horrific from what he's saying.
Yeah,
But
I'm just
like
wondering
you're
for the
saying, it's not
future.
as bad. It's still stuff going on over here, but the
Mhm.
difference is over here, it it's not as brutally oppressive as it is in Kashmir, but we have these data centers all over the place
Yeah,
that are popping up. For what reason? That's the thing. For
I
what
think
reason?
China. I just looked it up. They have like a 10 million square
Yeah,
foot data
China's,
center.
yeah, they're on it too.
they're on it too. But you know, a country like China, they need more energy and natural resources. No holds barred. They're gonna take it. You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't see
They got.
where I think the energy thing, I don't see where it's a problem because
Hmm.
they have ways to power it. I think they're using this opportunity as they always do to say, yeah, we can power it, but why not tell them that we got to use theirs just to make them suffer more?
That's
Remember,
possible too.
yeah,
Sure.
you look at it in the way of that, things start to make a lot of sense. I don't know why, but they're very cruel.
Hmm.
And that's what I've noticed with the government. Like when, uh, you know, you just paying taxes on every freaking thing is mentally taxing, no pun intended. But
Hmm.
it's like, it's crazy. And then having to worry about filing the taxes correctly. It
Oh
is,
yeah,
it's like mathematical fatigue. It's ridiculous.
it is. And they make
And
it so complicated for you.
yeah, yeah. They try to take people's visions away. If you don't have a vision, you'll always return to the past.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
keeping a vision to do, to go forward, that is very important. These things are extremely important. And this machine that is and the machine lies has actually, that's a great name because it's like a machine. It's just constantly lying to us, but also it's it's like a psychological. It's very hard to explain, but this machine is something that exists in our mind, but doesn't exist in the physical thing. It's like power, government, authority, laws. These are things that it it it'll it has a way with shielding us from morality and saying, okay, we know you're not supposed to morally put anything dirty in the water, but the law says we can put this much,
Hmm.
and that's where it diminishes morality. It's hard to see because people immediately will say, oh, so what are you saying? We should have no laws? It's like, no, it's like if we have morality, laws become obsolete. If you have a community that is strong, policing becomes obsolete because
Yeah.
everybody polices the community. So things it's changes in an instant with just a different type of participation from the people.
Yeah, but everything's about the people too, because like you mentioned policing, and like in Japan, I saw a story about the police over in Japan, and they actually go to the stores, the businesses, and they give them, they talk about advice on how to improve their business, and they do that because there's no crime. Literally, they have nothing better to do, so they do stuff like that. The police just interacting with business owners. A lot of
Wait,
times,
what?
it
They
comes,
just hang out with business owners?
yeah, and come up with blueprints on like different methods they could do to improve their business, make more
But
profitable.
have you seen the film about Japan's homeless thing?
I did, but they're different type of homeless, right? They
Yeah, it's
keep them
not as
very
bad,
organized.
but
Yeah.
I mean, for some, it's kind of bad.
Hmm.
Some people they said was sleeping standing up or something.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. I'm not doubting it. I
Yeah,
just saw one where they're very neat. They keep their shoes outside when they go in their tent.
they got a few documentaries. They got some where they go to this hotel, but it's like they can only stay there for a certain amount of hours. But it's like
Mhm.
it's not even a hotel. It's like a little
Oh, it's a capsule, right?
like closet or something. Yeah, yeah, like
Yeah, I've seen those. The capsule hotels. You just get in them.
yeah, those it man, it's like I don't know. Those things remind me of those futuristic movies, like Johnny Mnemonic or
Mhm.
yeah,
That's
something
why I
like.
say I think the pod, if they make a pod, this AI, eventually people are going to go in there willingly, willingly.
Yeah,
They're not
but
going to be
now if
forced
they're
to.
going to the pod willingly, is it a pod or is it a coffin at that point?
Sure.
Or like we talked about with the cells, the brain cells.
Hmm.
So if the brain cells that are grown in the petri dish that are used to be you know, the brain of the computer, but last for 6 months, how about using the entire brain of a human
Hmm.
hooked up to feeding tubes or intravenous,
Yeah.
and now that person is used to power some type of computer.
Just like the Matrix. And honestly, when I first saw the movie, I said, "Oh, that's sci-fi."
Yeah,
Now it just seems like it's going to really happen.
but without um I would think at first it's without the fantasy world, because why
Hmm.
would there be a need unless there's a way that if that's done to a human and they're basically put asleep, but they're in a form of suspended animation that
Hmm.
a little bit more active because it's sucking energy from the brain. So now how long does it take, if it takes the brain cells from the grown brain cells 6 months to expire, could the human, being that they already have the ports to put in to feed the body that will feed the brain, how long would it be extended and what would be needed to prevent it from atrophying? Or if it's just left to atrophy, how long do you got? What do you got? 10 years or something, because as you go beyond a certain point, say, say you put somebody in one of these things. We have an AI that we're going to hook this person up to. We
Hmm.
sedate them. We got now we're just doing, mechanical surgery on the top of the skull. It's like a direct interface. So this person is going to basically live the rest of their life as this. And that interface from the brain to the computer to power it with the neurons. Now, what keeps that fresh is that the body is getting fed through the intravenous.
Hmm.
But as years go by, there's no coming back. There's no coming back once I would think that the surgical thing, if you're putting an implant into somebody's brain, like a cord to the brain going from the brain to the computer interface, and saying, okay, the computer is hooked up to, I guess, batteries and stuff too, but this brain, I don't know what it would be really doing. I'm not that advanced.
Well,
And
the scary part is I bet they're doing experiments right now to figure it out on
they
real
probably,
people.
yeah, they probably do. And
Yeah.
it's like, and not many people will look at us and just shrug it off. And then other people will look at us and say that we're conspiracy theorists. And it's like,
And
wow,
my answer to them would be, you're telling me they've never done human experiments in the history of the world? I can't find
that's
documentation.
actually a good.
Yeah, I bet I can find documentation of actual human experiments.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's not conspiracy at this point. It's happened before. Why don't I think it's happening now? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. That's very true. Yeah, and there's plenty of examples to point to.
Hmm.
Plenty of examples where,
Even here in the U.S. Even here in the
yeah,
U.S.
yep,
Yeah.
all over the world, right here. I mean, people. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. In the midst of all of that, and the fact that they can look it up online at just a couple of strokes of a keyboard and say, "Wait a second." I mean, that's what I think. Yeah, it's like, wow, wow. People, well, I think what they say, in the age of information, it's not. There's no excuse. Like, I forgot what the
There is
saying
no
was.
excuse. Just
Yeah,
takes a couple strokes of the keyboard, or even you're on your iPhone that you're carrying
yeah.
all the time. And that's what I do. Look up a fact, I'll look it up and I'll say,
Mhm.
look what I found. This. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's easy to go further into it too, to say, okay, let me ask it, what are the sources? Uh,
Hmm.
what did this scientist notice in the experiment and this and that? It has some, if you know what to ask it, it's a great search engine. It's a
Even
great,
the pictures, like when we talk about human zoos, I didn't know they existed. You know what I mean? But I was able to find the pictures right there, and boom, oh
yeah.
wow, it did exist. You know what I'm saying? It took very little effort. I have to go to a library and do research and talk to a librarian like the old days. Just a couple
Yeah.
clicks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And in some libraries, I would think that there's probably pictures and stuff you could find with the World's Fair that is very, very that might not be online, that shows a different type of zoo. It was more like a habitat zoo
Mhm.
during the World's Fair, I think in the early 1900s, and they were displaying people like in kind of like the museum does today. It's straight out of Logan's, straight out of Planet of the Apes when they were
Mhm.
running from the apes, and then they caught one of the guys and stuffed him and put him in the museum. The human. I don't know if you ever saw the original Planet of the
Oh,
Apes.
of course, of course. I saw it a million times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
the best one. Yeah.
yeah. I mean that. I think they were mocking humans with that. The Planet of the Apes. I think so. Zachary Hubbard, what's up, bro? He says, "Where do the homeless go when these big cities do homeless sweeps?" You know, I wonder about that, man. I definitely like when I saw the movie They Live, and I remember the scene when they sweeped everybody out, and it's really sad, man. I don't know where they go, man. Where do you think, Mister X?
Well, they just move to other cities, basically. They just go to other cities. Like here in Florida, we got a lot of homeless people too, but they're hidden. They go into the woods, basically. You can't see them.
Wow,
Um,
that's man, and the humanity of that. And thank you, Zachary, for the question. Yeah, man, where do they go, man? He says I brought it up because of human testing. Holy smoke, that's actually a good thought
right.
right there because they're probably taking them when they do the sweeps. And I've heard about that in upper Manhattan around like 168th and Broadway. There was this building, and I remember asking a couple of my friends, they were in the store, and I go, they were from the neighborhood, and they go, people disappear. They said people disappear. Holy smokes. That's actually a pretty good yeah, because when you think about that, the sweeps, they come sometimes with the van, or they'll make them get into a vehicle and take them somewhere. I guess the lucky ones get to walk away. Holy,
Hmm.
yeah, that's it's. I've heard that there is definitely something going on with that, and remember, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of teenagers that fall into that category. That's what people forget. I think there's like over 10 million.
Wow.
In America, yeah, because there was a governor in New Jersey. He was like one of the politicians I remember about 10, 15 years ago. And
Hmm.
he was I think I don't know if he came out of the closet or somebody exposed him for being gay. And he came out on TV and said people are concerned with his sexual orientation over the fact that he was saying something like 14 million kids, go to bed homeless every night. Like, like he was concerned. The people that, and it could again be a ruse, but people who seem to be concerned with helping people saying, look, okay,
Hmm.
fine, the guy is, that's his sexual orientation. But this guy was thinking about helping, saying, look, one of the problems we need to fix is the fact that you got 14 million kids that are, that go to sleep without a place. And like you're saying, and what Zachary was saying about them disappearing. Big tech cities on the West Coast have the largest homeless populations per capita. Something to think. Yes, I've
It's
heard it.
true.
Wow. Wow.
All throughout the West Coast, from San Diego to Seattle, basically.
And
Huge homeless
that's crazy
population.
because now, see what Zachary's saying is that you have the big tech cities and the
Hmm.
homeless people there per capita could be yeah, I imagine Neuralink needs a lot of human test subjects. I
Yeah.
definitely think so.
Point.
Wow. That's a very good point. And, I was thinking because I said, if they're doing the brain cell thing to power the computer, and the whole thing is you're trying to feed the cells with blood and stuff, then if it's a human test subject, they could just use the human body until it atrophies to a point to where
Hmm.
it's unusable, which could take 10, 15, who knows, 30, 40 years, maybe 50 years. There's, they probably they've probably been doing it for decades.
Well, look at the old mental institutions way back when that were closed down. They were doing inhumane experiments on the mental patients all the time,
Mm-hmm.
unregulated. And they had to close them down because of the severe
They
abuse.
probably got people shriveled up in the lab
Mhm.
with plugs in their brain powering some type of computer.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's crazy. I might need to write some science fiction. Uncommon Truth Shaman says, especially the homeless and addicted combination. Yes, that's very true. I've seen stuff on that, man. It's messed up. They say drug dealers keep them addicted. It's messed up. They can be very easily persuaded and manipulated for a cheap payoff to go score again, but just enough that they need to come back. Man, it's so exploitative. It's crazy, bro. Thank you.
Mhm.
Wow.
But
Wow.
that's why mental illness has to be treated like a real disease, and people overlook it like, oh, it's not real. Well, if you think that way, you're going to end up on the street like those people. You know what I'm saying? If you don't treat it like a real disease, because it is a real disease, but it goes untreated, and this is where you end up on the streets, addicted to drugs, self-medic. It's called self-medicating. Really, that's what they're doing.
I think they keep them there's people that keep them addicted to drugs on the street. I'm
Yeah.
not sure 100%, but I remember seeing some videos on that, but it's like it's really messed up, man. It's real,
Hmm.
like even what Azarun was saying about what they do to the kids.
Sure.
It's like it's just but over here with the data centers and the West Coast having all those high tech, because California, when I looked at the map for data centers, here, let me look at it again.
I know Alabama's going to come up with one. I was looking at it last night, and Texas is going to have a huge one. Those are already in the works. Texas is going to have a giant one, huge data center. Figures there's a lot of land out there.
Yeah, I'm looking. Texas has 413, but I think this is an old map. I remember seeing it with like 600 some.
I think I would look at the projected data centers too, because that's going to be even. Remember, they're going to double in size by next year. So
Yeah, 2026. This is 2026. That's dollars. I thought they had other maps with like they're saying on one, but I don't think this is 2025.
mhm.
So Cali had 321, California, 164 in Arizona, and 137 and 134 in Washington and Oregon. Texas has 413,
Data center.
665 in Virginia. Holy
Wow, look
smokes.
at that.
New York, it says 142. The other one I saw, New York had like 300. So within a year, I'm trying
But
to see.
also, you got to look at the size of these data centers too, because they're going to be start building some massive ones. So you might have one state with fewer data centers, but they're massive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right about that. It says in the USA, uh, about 4,000 data centers in the continental. Holy
Hmm.
smokes. And that dwarfs other countries. France is 335, but France, of course, yeah, the country's small. Um, I think China, they're saying, only has 365. Yeah.
But they have massive one. They have the biggest one in the
Oh,
world,
okay.
10 million square acres or something.
Okay.
So that's the thing. If we go by square footage, I wonder who's the biggest. I'm sure it's still U.S., but I'm just wondering by square footage.
Trying to see what is DEU. 470. Is that DEU? Dutch? I think that's Dutch. So they're saying 470? Get out of here. And Holland ain't big.
Mhm.
Holy smokes. And Germany has 498. And Germany's not too big. Texas is bigger than Germany,
Mm.
or at least comparable. Wow. And then the USA, now all of these countries, 98, 470, 385, 335. USA 3,860.
And
They
you could
are
double that in 2027. So it'll be 7,000 or 8,000.
holy. This is like they don't
And
give
they'll
a.
be bigger.
Russia, they say only has 178, but you're right. They could be very big ones, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the map I saw. Okay. And this is later 2025. 575, 76 in Texas, 644 in California, 300 in New York. Wow.
Hmm.
Florida has, I think, 250. That's crazy because Florida ain't that. Wow. Illinois has 459.
Wow. They
That's
say because in China they built it in a place that's very cold, and they say that's better for the data center to build it in colder
yes,
areas.
yeah. If they build it in coal, that is much because they're saying that they got to spend a lot of money to when I think about it, the amount of money that's what pollutes the water.
Hmm.
So it's like I don't know, like I guess yeah, how would that work? Because you'd have to build a data center and be able to transport it there, probably in pieces. Because some of those very cold areas where if you look up, there's videos on certain areas of Russia where they got to keep the cars running 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they
Otherwise,
shut it off, I don't know if you've ever seen that documentary where
I
they
did.
show.
I did the coldest places on earth. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's amazing that people, I'm like, wow. It reminded me of when I was in the military. Like when we were out in the field, that's how you got to be. Everything is always, you don't have to keep it running all the time, but you're in like that convoy, like,
Hmm.
that kind of but yeah, yeah. I think about that like, man, that's
That makes sense. You'd save a lot on energy costs if you're in a colder climate for dissipating the heat because they produce a lot of heat, these data centers.
I think they were saying that China was doing something with putting them underwater in the ocean
Wow, look at
and
that.
then using that. But because I don't think China goes that far north, like Mongolia is on top of China. And let me see,
I thought I heard about a cave system. They put it in a cave. Uh,
because Russia is above China,
it says
so
the largest data center in the world, physical size is China Telecom Inner Mongolia
how big
Information Park. Yeah,
does it say how many miles it is? How
it
many
says
square miles?
it says 12 million square feet. So I don't know what they'd be converted into miles.
Nah, if it's 12, wait, 12 million?
I mean, 10 million square feet. I'm sorry, 10
10
million.
million. So say 5,000, a mile is 5,280 feet. So just say 5,000. So you're saying,
Well, it
what
says here 10.7 million square feet.
you're saying 10 million square feet, right? Or no?
Yeah, well, 10.7 to be
Okay,
more
so 10
specific.
million square feet, right?
Hmm.
So you
In
could have
miles.
something that's like 10 million square feet. So 10 million by 10 million? No, just 10 million square feet. So 10 million square feet is basically, say, 2 million times 5 million. So you have a rectangle.
Hmm.
That's 2 million square feet. So, wait, it's 2 million square feet. Wait, get 2 million square
229 acres.
2 million square feet. If
No, 10
something
million. Tell me 10 million.
No, if you have it going 2 million in one way and 5 million in the other way, that rectangular dimension, 2 by 5, is equals to 10 square million feet because each cube is a million square feet. So if you got
Okay.
1 foot going 5 foot long, you got 5 million square feet. And you add another five on top of that. So now it's 2 feet high, but I mean, two cubes high and 5 feet, 5 cubes long. So
Oh,
now
I see
that
what you're
equals 10. So now if we're looking at 2 million going in the short direction of the part of the rectangle, 2 million feet, uh, 2 million feet, and say 5,000 in a mile. So 500,000 is 100 miles. So that means a million is 200. So 400 miles by and times that by 5, by 400 miles by 2,000 miles, I think that is.
You know
That's,
better than I do.
I think so. So 400 miles by two. I'm trying to get a visual perspective just by doing the math in my head by saying, okay, if it's
Mhm.
2 million square feet, that's roughly, because this is a very rough estimate because I'm only using 5,000 feet as a mile when a mile is really 5,280. So if I use 5,000 feet, 500,000 feet is 100 miles. If you know, which it's going to be a little less really. But
Mhm.
now we're going a distance of 2 million miles. So now we got 100 miles, 200 miles is equal to 100, 1 million feet. And now you have another 200. So that's four. Wow. Wow, man. Yeah, that's pretty deep. Yeah. So that's a big data center, man.
Yeah.
That's you're looking at something that's the size 400 miles by 2,000. No, there's no way it can be that big.
No, no, that's too big. No, no.
Yeah,
I
there's
think it's
no way.
33 miles roughly, square miles.
Yeah, because
Uh,
I'm saying that's a lot of square
no,
feet
no, no.
that
It's
you're
not that
giving me
big.
there.
No, no, no. It's not that big.
It said 10 million square feet, 10.7 million.
10.7 million square feet. I think it came out to like 33 square miles or something like that. Uh,
So 33 square miles. Yeah, it was 33, you think?
I think uh, it's 229 acres. So in a square mile, it'd be like about, it says here 0.35. That can't be right.
That
But
would be
it's
like 3 miles by like what, 10 miles,
it's 229 acres.
11 miles.
Yeah,
Well, they say
acres.
they're building one in Utah, in Salt Lake City. They
That's
say
what
it's
60 miles.
60 miles, right? So that's 1 hour of travel, 60 miles. So maybe if that's 60 miles, then
Yeah.
man, the one in China being 300 or 400 miles doesn't seem that.
No, 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 no. It's not 300 or 400 miles. It's 229 acres,
Okay.
which is, yeah, no, it's not. It's what? I don't, I think it's less than half a mile, actually. Um,
Well, the one that's 60 miles, that's ridiculous.
yeah, that's insane.
60
Uh,
by 60, right?
let me see. I'll look it up. Let's see. Planned
Utah.
Utah.
I think it's in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah. $100
Zach
billion
said,
proposed.
Zachary said a building that is 5,000 feet by 2,000 is 10 million square feet. Yeah, thanks, bro. Yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's I think misdirects. Yeah, you got 10.7
10.7 million square feet.
square feet. Yeah, exactly. So that's 5,000 feet by two. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I think it's
uh
probably 40,000 acres.
oh
40,000 acres is going to be originally proposed to span an astonishing 40,000 acres. That's a lot because the one in China is only 229
40,000
acres.
acres. How much is 1 acre? One square? How many feet? Do you know? Or Uncommon says, doesn't make sense when the government says the influx in data center construction is to stay competitive in the world in reference to exactly. You can't, nobody can't trust the government. Exactly. I'm in Georgia, kind of concerning with the amount of data centers that are projected for the state. Yeah, I heard they're hammering Georgia with, man, they just have no regard. When I look at it, it's just the government is, man, the federal, they're just like, look, that is so Gestapo. It's ridiculous.
I
It,
mean,
I don't-
what are they going to do with all this power? You know what I mean? What are they going to do? It's got to be something
it
huge.
might be putting people in the pod, the human
I
experiment.
think so. I don't see
As
another way of looking at it.
as Varun, did you have something?
Yeah, see, there was an experiment done. One person was feeling very sad and depressed. So what happened was that this guy said, "You do one thing. This is a remedy. You make him laugh. When he laughs too much, tears will start coming out of his eyes. You drink those tears actually." So he did that, and then he drank the tears, and then he became his mood changed. Actually, he was able to become happy again from being depressed. So you said that something is feeding off of this negative energy, right? Like if you try to feed off of someone's negative energy, if you're human, it will make you only more miserable. So something non-human is only doing this, MD.
Mhm.
Because in the night the demons become strong actually. So something that's not human is only doing this.
Wow,
Makes sense.
that's kind
Makes
of
sense.
deep, man.
And think about it too. Let's say they did want to take over a country and wipe out the population. Robots would be the perfect weapon. They have no feelings, no remorse. You know.
Yeah. And if they want to just juice the person to drain them,
Hmm.
keep them alive like chickens laying eggs
Yeah,
or
we're
cows.
literally going into a sci-fi movie. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're going into a sci-fi movie. We'll be battling robots. You know.
It's weird because the Terminator movie talked about 40 years. That's when they would have it. And that was in 1984, right?
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Wow. It's been
And we're on the
42
verge.
years.
Yeah.
And she told them, that she's not stupid, that they don't have robots that advance. And he was like, yeah, not for about 40 years. So about 40 years could indicate right now because 42 years is about 40 years.
Yeah, that's right. It's like what? Okay, so that movie was made how many years ago?
Uh,
42 in 84, I think.
Years.
The Terminator was a pretty deep movie.
Hmm. Yeah, looking at it now for sure. 42 years ago. Yeah, just like you said. Yeah. So roughly, he said roughly 42. So think about it. 42 years ago, and he said roughly 40 something years. So we got another 8 years. Well, another 7 years, let's say.
Yeah,
You
he
know.
said about 40. He goes, not for about 40 years. She
Right.
goes, I'm
Well,
not stupid. We don't have stuff that advanced now. Or they don't
but
have
think,
stuff.
yeah, but think we have 7 more years in that 40-year period. We have 7 more to go, and look where we are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like we're probably there.
Yeah.
We're probably there. It might be because when Scribe was on, we were trying to, and Retro, we were talking about the liquid. How would a liquid Terminator work?
Hmm.
Like in the part 2. Did you
Yeah,
see Terminator 2?
I did. You know, with the policeman and how he
Yeah.
was. Yeah, I remember that one.
So like I thought we did a stream, I think a while ago, about liquid robots. Like it's not a liquid robot, but they're moving the liquid. I forgot how, whether it was with electricity or magnets. But Retro
uh,
was posing some pretty good ideas of how that would work. Scribe was saying that he didn't see a way it would work because you would need some type of CPU or something. Or, how would it stiffen? How would it move? But with nanotechnology, there's a possibility, I would think.
Sure. And we don't know what AI can invent on its own. I mean, it doesn't take a break. They said it can do coding like I don't know how many thousands of codes within a minute. or something like that. Crazy. You can just constantly programming on its own.
I think
I
the
think
problem is one of the problems, and I don't know if they probably solved it, is that when they would have an AI remake a picture over and over again, there was one study that was showing the 26 picture, they stopped having it remake it because it wasn't remaking it better. It kept getting more distorted. But this study it's dated to about a year. So I'm thinking just the way the fingers, even though you will have some AI that still messes up the fingers a little, they pretty much advanced past that. The video, there's a way to speak to it, I think, to where it would work without wasting a lot of the credits, because that's the thing they charge you to make the videos with the credits. Like when I made Ball Chasers,
Mm-hmm.
the video itself with AI may have cost about $10.
Look at that.
Zachary Hubbard says the robot steps on the crushed skull in 2029. Oh, that's from Terminator. Yeah. Wow. In 2029.
Look at that.
That is deep. That is deep. That now, what you were talking about, the clock is ticking, Mr. X, is
Mm-hmm.
that this is like 3 years. I wonder what month. Let me see if AI can answer that. What month in the Terminator movie? What month of 2029 in the Terminator movie did the robot step on the skull? Oh man, this is crazy. See, this is what AI is good for. If it could find it, it said July 11th, 2029. Wow, it has it in the film too. Zach, the date is July 11th, 2029. Holy smoke! So we got like almost exactly 3 years. Skynet coming, man. I saw that with a picture of The Rock by around the 20 reinterpretation. It was completely unrecognizable. Yeah, exactly. So the more they do it, so I'm thinking the reason I brought that up with the AI having a glitch like that may have been solved already, is that I would, if you're going to have it do coding, could it check the coding over and over? Because instead of the human having to check it, have it at least check it three or
No,
four.
it does that already. It does that already.
Yeah, but eventually, would you still have to check it, or is it good enough to just be like, okay, we can use the coding?
I think it's already there according to what I've seen. These experts who say it does all the coding by itself, but it does it
Yeah, because the
within
mind
a
was saying
second. It
that.
can do a
Yeah,
code.
he goes, we could make video games with it. We were talking on like one of the other streams, so hopefully he yeah, if the mind, I would really like to work with him on making the games. Yeah, yeah. So the skull, man, that's some deep stuff, Zach, man. You got me thinking about this now. The skull, the robot steps on the crushed skull in 2029. Holy smokes. And you know what? These type of things sneak up on you
Mm-hmm.
because we're so distracted with all of this other, like, the circus. The circus is loud. The circus is loud.
But in all fairness, too, can we even stop it if we're not distracted? You know what I mean? Like we can't
Well,
stop
we
this.
can't. Yeah, I don't think we can. I mean, there might be a way, but you know, I mean, and what's crazy? We know the clock is ticking. We're not going to live. What do we
Yeah.
got? Another 50. If we live longer than most, 60, 70. I mean, people
And then
can't.
our brains aren't working as sharp as they used to the older we get anyway. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it happens. We get old.
I just saw something today about people that live to 100 and more. that they have certain bacteria, and they had a link in saying that certain bacteria, like certain amounts of L. bifidosus and stuff like that, and bacillus, enables, it seems to enable the growth of good bacteria to where it can prevent the bad bacteria. And people, it has like this amino acid, some type of regenerative uh trait, to where it prevents what was it? It was preventing some type of bacterial infection.
Hmm.
So it's like, and it boosts the immune system too. So it's like these bacteria are strongly suggesting that people that live to 100 and over is in some way, or at least in some part, in, due to the bacteria in their gut. Just the way they proved something about like not obesity, but people who get like thicker, like what they would call big boned, not fat, but just bigger. And this was I forgot what it was. It was due to some type of bacteria in the gut as well, because a mother that was slimmer, her daughter, they had transferred some bacteria, and she started getting the same type of physical thing. So bacteria can even alter your physical makeup.
Wow, I believe it, 100%.
Like there's some deep stuff going on with bacteria research. Real deep, man. I mean, I was like, wow, this is this. I remember about the stuff with the woman. I remember that a while back, but the other stuff that they're coming out with, I was like, wow, this is some good. I mean, it's reality, man. It's
Yeah.
reality. It just that that whole thing. That whole thing with the future. I mean, we're in the future, man. This is Skynet. Matter
It
of
is.
fact, I think China's thing. I don't know if you looked into their like facial recognition thing. I think they call it
I've
like
heard about it. No, it's all over the place there. Yeah, I saw 60 Minutes
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something. Hmm.
do they
I
have that?
think they'll.
Huh? What
We don't have that in India yet, MD, but in China, I think they'll use that facial recognition, and if you've done something against the law, they'll discredit you and you'll lose some perks actually as a citizen.
You have a
Yeah.
social credit score in China. You have a social
Yeah,
credit
yeah,
score.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
India doesn't have none of those cameras like that or anything?
No, 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 not yet. India is like, in some ways, it's like a tortoise. It's moving at snail's pace, but like we'll slowly get there. But when we get there, I don't know how messed up things will be over here.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, corruption can really that's crazy. A
Well,
friend
it's going to happen to us too. We're going to get social credit scores and we're going to get facial recognition everywhere. Despite our rights, it's just going to happen. You can't get out of it.
For some reason, I think we already lost them.
Hmm.
I don't know, but I just
Yeah.
feel that it is so under surveillance that we don't even realize it.
Yeah. I mean, the cars, you look at the Tesla cars with all the cameras, I remember in my daughter's Tesla, I was in it because she got a Tesla too. I was able to review the camera work and go back to the original owner, him driving around. I was able to see the guy driving around in the car because we bought a used one.
Get
And
out of here. So what?
yeah,
It's got like some computer that you can check everywhere he's
yeah.
drove.
Well, it's a big screen and you check the video footage and you can go back to years. It has them archived, the videos of who was driving the car, when, and everything. You even saw stuff of them working on the car and everything like
What
that.
what year is the car?
She got hers a 2023, I think it is.
So it's a 2023 brand new car.
No, we bought it used Tesla.
And what year? So you bought it in 2023, and what year
No,
is
no,
the?
no, no. It's a model of 2023. We bought it a year ago.
Okay, so it was 2 years old.
Right.
And so basically it showed everywhere the car had driven in the 2 years.
No, there was a limit. There was a limit to go back because after a while it runs out of video space.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to ask, how does it, like, what would it hold
Yeah.
to?
But I was able to She didn't even know it existed. Go back to the other owner driving the car.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So like these cars all have cameras. So that's what I'm saying. The surveillance, you can't stop it. You can't, even if the government doesn't create their own surveillance, we're building cars with millions of cameras because with
Yeah,
Teslas, they're
yeah.
going to be in every car. And it's all going to be networked anyway through Starlink or whatever, you know what I mean? Through the internet and wireless everywhere. So if there's an accident or a crime, it's going to be from somebody's personal car is going to be sent over, the video footage.
There was a story about junkyard car junkyards on fire. I don't know if you heard of it.
No,
Just
I didn't hear about
recently,
that.
like today or yesterday.
No, I
That's
didn't hear
crazy.
about that.
Yeah, it's like, and one guy was saying that he goes, could it be because these are cars that still don't need all of this electronic parts?
Hmm.
It's only like, I think the ones from like maybe 2020 or
Hmm.
2018, maybe that don't that can be, you still need electronic parts, but not as much as the ones you need for the cars now.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, it's getting more and more to where it's harder to fix your own car. Like you have to,
Oh yeah. I'm
yeah,
studying that right now on my own, and you gotta know computer systems. I mean, they have what's called the controller area network, and basically all these you might have like 10 or 15 computers at minimum, a bunch of sensors, and they have to communicate with each other. So you got to be familiar with that to even fix the car. It's nothing like the old days anymore, If the ignition if it doesn't turn on, it's no longer just looking at the mechanics. You got to know if the computer's communicating and everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
MD.
yeah. What's up, man?
The thing is, in the US, how many factories are still there where people work manually on, as far as manufacturing is concerned? Are most of them automated? Because they're saying that, like everyone used to make promises as presidents saying that we'll bring back the jobs, we'll do something about it. So how many factories are manually operated by hands, and how many of them are operated by machines actually?
In the U.S., honestly, I'm not sure.
Hmm.
So you're
They're
saying,
switching to automation though. I know Amazon big time is going robotic.
so
Yeah.
you want to know how much right now is working by hand in comparison to the ones working by machine?
Yeah. I Because they said America's manufacturing base has been ruined after China came into the global markets, and China has a very protective market. They impose tariffs on all other goods that come in there, but they can sell their goods freely across the world. So it's like it's very messed up. So America lost its manufacturing to China, they say. So I just wanted to know how much is still left manually for manufacturing.
Hmm. I mean, I would think the normal thing they make. Yeah, is that
Yeah,
um
me.
he says, I can't remember which state exactly, but the state legislator is trying to pass laws to make it illegal to work on your own car. Holy
Wow.
smokes.
Look at
And I
that.
did hear that sounds familiar. Uh an outlaw smaller private mechanic basically holy smokes. There was another one on that where people were having drones. They were looking and saying people, they were checking their food production on what people can grow. I think England now they got to register their chickens,
Hmm.
even if it's as little as one pet chicken. And they're trying to say because of the bird, the avian flu type of
That's
thing.
coming here. I guarantee it. That's coming
That's
here.
crazy, man. That is crazy. It's straight Frankenstein.
Hmm. They
That,
just want, yeah.
yeah, it's just, man,
Honestly, at this point, I might trust AI more as to rule this world than humans. Humans have a bad record. You know what I mean?
well, humans made the AI, so imagine what you're getting. Have you ever seen the movie Ex Machina?
It sounds
A little
familiar.
bit.
I know you've mentioned it before, but I don't
Yeah,
think I've
that
seen
movie's pretty good.
it. Hmm.
And the robot actually she manipulates the guy, and she uses violence to try to achieve it. And she ends up basically killing the guy that, made her model
Hmm.
a robot, using the other robot and manipulating the other human, the guy. And in the commentary, I was looking at some people, what because they did some good breakdowns of it. And because the movie's pretty good to me. When I look at Ex Machina, I'm like, this is a deep psychological movie, a lot more to it than what's just seen on the screen. And yeah, I was just like, like it was showing how the creator of the robot, being that he had used physical force and he was looking at the robot without empathy, that the robot now would be that way
Hmm.
because it's being like its creator. And so it used that to manipulate him and the other guy, eventually ending him and then going free. It's a pretty good movie. It's worthy of analyzing and watching. I probably should, I think I only watched it like one time and then some clips, over here and there, and more of the breakdowns of it. Because after you see it, it's like, okay, I've seen it. It's a little slow burn, but it it has an atmosphere to it that's very futuristic. It's a very odd. I don't even know how to classify the atmosphere that Ex Machina had in, like, because he had an estate that was like in the middle of the wilderness in like northern USA that was hundreds of miles or something, or like 50 miles, of acreage or something like that. Yeah, it was actually, it was a pretty, I have to admit, the movie was the robot basically outsmarted both of them.
Mm.
And
uh,
it was it was like, wow, you know. I mean,
MD.
yeah.
There was one more movie called Upgrade in which the robot outsmarts everyone and takes possession of that guy's body in the end after removing his personality and becoming the physical body, like making the physical body a part of its personality. Did you see that movie Upgrade?
I
Same thing
didn't
like
see I
this.
didn't see the movie, but I saw pieces, but I thought it was more like, was it like a comedy where the thing was taking over his body and then doing like stuff to protect him?
No, he'll try
Like,
to find his wife's murderer. The machine would have killed his wife actually, and he'll finally get to the people who created the program. Then, when he gets to the people who created the program, the machine will take over the man, kill everyone who's created the program, and shut him personally off in limbo and take over his body completely.
wow, that's
There's
crazy.
this there's this Russian billionaire called Dmitry Itskov. He wants to upload his consciousness into that of a robot. He's planning to do it actually, so that he can live forever and see how the time passes on. So he wants to upload his consciousness into a machine and design that, create a kind of mechanical body for his consciousness and live on forever.
Wow. Wow. That's I tell you, there's so much with the consciousness and wanting to go forward, and it's something, man. It really is. Yeah. It's like I mean, it's life is like reading a book and you can't turn back the page. You just got to keep, you once you turn the page, it can't be turned back.
Yeah. The strange thing is losing your humanity and making it get replaced by that of a machine, and having your love, what do you say, the way you express your love, everything becoming machine like is kind of scary actually. That's happened in the West. It'll happen now all over the world actually.
Yeah, you were saying like it happened in some Hindu like ancient text, right? Like Sanskrit or something like that.
Yeah. There's this person, he's a time traveler. Strange story, MD. He's got the body of a human being and the face of a crow. So one day he'll come to Ayodhya actually, and he'll try to catch Lord Rama. Lord Rama will capture the bird and swallow it. So inside the stomach of Lord Rama, he'll see the multiverse actually, hundreds of different universes, and it'll take billions of years for him to fly from one universe to the other, and you'll see the same events being played out in every universe. So that's the crazy part actually, MD. So he's seen all this happen again and again and again, and when he came out of the mouth, not a single second had passed by. So that time dilation, like when you're next to a black hole, only 1 hour would have passed over there, but on Earth, thousands of years would have passed off. All that he's experienced, and he's written it actually in his thing. So he's like a time traveler in our religion, Kaka Bhujangar.
Hmm. Wow. Wow. Mr. X, did you have anything? Or
I was about to say something, but I forget what I was going to say. That's okay. I'll think of something. Yeah, but no.
Can you trust the government? You know, and Azraroon let us know that you cannot. That's very corrupt.
Yeah.
But is it a government or is it a worldwide system that we don't vote on?
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
definitely worldwide. Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
think it's leaning to that.
yeah, India. I mean, I've heard stories, so I guess even like it has the stereotype from the movies and stuff. So I guess Azraroon is just verifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the politician will do is, let's say an underworld don has illegal businesses by which he's earning black money unaccounted for. The politician will tell the underworld don over here, you give me this much money, I'll look after your like unregistered properties on a monthly basis. Just pay me this much, and I'll have it registered in my name. All that happens over here, MD, because one person called Dawood Ibrahim, he bombed the Bombay Stock Exchange and killed 300 people. So the chief minister of Maharashtra that time was Sharad Pawar, and Bombay is like the financial capital of India, Mumbai. So he and Bal Thackeray, they used to handle this Dawood Ibrahim's property when he ran off to Pakistan, came under ISI's protection. So they used to handle his property without anyone knowing only, actually. The chief minister of the state is like the governor, and he is hand in glove with someone who's bombed the stock exchange itself.
Yeah, they're saying in the USA there's over 100,000 people that are doing like they're doing like garment manufacturing, so they're making clothing and stuff like that. So 150,000 people maybe. And so if they're saying 150,000 people, I don't know if you consider that,
Yeah.
because that's making garments, but there's also people that are like working in agriculture, like picking fruits and tomatoes and stuff, which, they say a lot of children.
Yeah. Well, in India, that's where they do Polo, Ralph Lauren, all the major brands that we buy from.
Mm-hmm.
They just go to India. They actually have a whole section, right, Azwaroon, where you can start your
Correct,
own
correct.
clothing line right there. They give you
Yeah.
they do everything there. All the clothes are made there, right, pretty much.
Wow.
And they use
In
kids too.
in sweatshops, because it's cheaper to pay them. The conditions in which they work in is very unhygienic and very bad.
Man, that is terrible, man. You think about it, there's so much there's so much stuff going on around the world in so many different countries. It makes you, it's like, what is, the most important thing when you think about it is basically having the basics: food, shelter, clothing. And food is very important, that you have at least a little bit of land, to grow food. I would think that some people that grow food or no. As
India?
Yeah. In India, it's not possible, MD. What happens is that, let's say you're a farmer and you have some small land next to the highway, the government will want to increase the highway. It will tell the farmer, get out of here, we'll pay you this much of compensation to hell with your farmland. So it's already so overpopulated. I don't know what we'll do for food sufficiency in the future. In the USA's land mass is bigger than India's. So you having your own land to cultivate food is fine, but here it's a mess actually.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I've seen stuff film and it's just it is kind of unsettling. It's just like
Yeah,
holy smokes, what is
yeah,
going on? And I know there's other places, Central Africa, stuff like that Australia, certain areas, Indonesia, um, China. There's definitely stuff like we spoke about with Mongolia, Russia, stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah. And even in like Romania and stuff like that, there's some Ukraine. Uh, there's definitely gangs of kids, and it's just you look at the heart. Like my friend from Uzbekistan, he said that back in his country, you would see in some like work camps, you'd see kids like as young as 5 years old
Hmm.
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
work camp smoking a cigarette, and I was like, "You got to be." He's like, "No, seriously." And I'm like, wow. Because remember, they
The,
were having that little Filipino baby that used to smoke.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and it was like, he was what 2 years old or something. It's crazy. I was like,
That's
why?
when you know society's done. They're just done.
Oh,
You know what I
oh,
mean? I mean, how they treat their
yeah,
children. Like,
yeah, it's really. And that was, I think it was an Indonesian lady or Philippine. I wasn't really sure. Indian, I don't. Yeah, that's
I mean, to
crazy.
allow a 2-year-old to smoke or put him to work, it's just like there's no morality in the country. The country is finished.
It
The,
just, yeah,
They just
the
came into
main
the world.
problem,
Right?
yeah,
yeah.
the main problem with Uzbekistan was I've noticed one thing crazy. In the Islamic countries, it's either always a fanatic who rules or a commercial tyrant who doesn't care about the people. So in Uzbekistan, there was this tyrant called Islam Karimov. After it broke away from the Soviet Union, he ceased production of cotton and wanted to increase producing cotton at any means. He hated radical terrorists. So what he would do was, if he found anyone being too religious, he would boil them alive in water. So
Oh,
the
shit.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, he would put them in water and boil the water until they were dead. So he was very particular that radical Islam shouldn't come into his country because his investment in the cotton fields would go for a waste, while the people slogged in the cotton fields, he made money off of it actually. And he
Wow.
and he kept something like a very like a secret police to check on people if they were too religious. He would boil them alive if he found them to be too religious.
Oh, so he was just a straight up nutcase.
Yeah, 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 yeah. A
Hmm.
commercial tyrant.
Yeah, there they don't hide anything. They just do their oppression right in public. Everything's done in
Yeah,
public.
yeah,
There's no
yeah.
hiding.
I remember this thing. Dr. Steve Pachanik, he had said this. All the tyrants, they if for a last resort, if things go bad in their country, they will make plans, stack up all their money in some Swiss bank or some other country. They'll run off to Russia and stay in this town called Barvika, and they can live there for the rest of their lives under Vladimir Putin's protection, but they'll have to pay him some money on a monthly basis.
Hmm.
So Askar Akayev was the ruler of Kyrgyzstan. The people got fed up of him and they kicked him out. He ran off to Russia and he's under Vladimir Putin's protection. Bashar al-Assad also ran off to Russia, and he's under Vladimir Putin's protection too. So he provides a safe haven for all these tyrants.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, for money, but
It's like corruption is everywhere, basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And only a few people at the top are enjoying, and the rest of us are suffering.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to be some type of mental solution to at least improve the situation.
Hmm.
Like, what would you suggest, Azraron?
Uh, I don't know. We're helpless against this. I mean, every time the war on greed was a failure because they tried communism, that didn't work out well, that made people more miserable.
Yeah, it's
The
crazy, man.
solution isn't government, that's for sure. It's not
Yeah,
government.
yeah,
Because government's
yeah.
corrupt. It can be corrupted. So people can't look to government for their solutions.
Yeah, you can't trust the government, man.
No. I think it's a moral issue. It's they have to have the people have to change their moral outlook, honestly. It's like that
Yeah,
whole system in India, the dowry, it shouldn't exist. You know what I mean? These traditions shouldn't exist. It's just self-destructive, you know?
yeah. The whole
Uh,
dowry thing is crazy, man. Well,
Yeah.
do you know how that was like started, Ezra?
uh, I actually, it started out a long time ago. Earlier in the Vedic civilization, the relationship between the man and the woman in society was fair. But then gradually the man changed all the laws and started oppressing the woman. And then for 1,000 years, the system has been there and it's still being followed, but slowly, it's coming to an end. But it's still there in the rural areas of this country. So it's like a tradition that's been a corrupt tradition that's been ingrained in the very marrow of the people of this country.
Mm-hmm. Wow, wow.
Yeah. It's wiped out majority of the female population because of that. Really destroyed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the Terminator thing. Yeah, man, Terminator in the opening future war scene of the Terminator 2 Judgment Day movie. The Terminator steps on a human skull on July 11, 2029.
Mm.
The specific date appears right at the beginning of the film. Wow. And it's a playground before the camera pans to the playground.
Mm.
That is crazy.
We're on the edge of it, that's for sure. We're definitely on the edge. Because now people start ordering robots, you know, like it's starting to get into the rich people, they're ordering some robots, but it's starting up right now, you know. And before you know it, a year or two from now, it'll just be commonplace for the average person to own a robot, doing some work in the house.
Yeah, this I'm surprised they're not selling Terminator robots.
Oh, well, I'm sure they're building them. I know they're working on them for soldiers.
That is crazy, man. That is like people, it's like you wonder, you say, wow, people are making larger handcuffs, knowing that they could possibly be used against them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
If
it's
anything, I'd be more scared if I were the elite. They might have it good, but who knows what AI is going to do? You know what I mean? Maybe they'll leave
Yeah,
us alone. You
yeah.
know, maybe it's the elites they'll want to take out. You know?
yeah, it's like that saying, the rich have the poor believing that other poor people are oppressing them.
Yeah, basically.
It's crazy, man.
But,
But,
but MD, if you
uh-huh.
notice throughout history, mankind, it's always involved in some kind of a war. When the religion part came into it, it was to make sure that whatever was considered evil according to their perception was removed. Then gradually nation states came up. Then poverty became a problem. They tried to eradicate that. Basically, the war against evil has been a complete failure, and we ended up becoming whatever we hate. Strange, actually. We tried to end violence with violence, that backfired. Everything we did has actually backfired. We thought we could create a system that could eradicate greed, that backfired. Then there's been so many mistakes that we've made. Nothing has been successful, MD.
Wow. Yeah, that's man, that's it's crazy because it says that we just, you have to think of a solution that is much higher in psychology or understanding or being able to see the problem and solve it from a higher vantage point than more of an equal vantage point. So like trying to picture it with your mind. And I'm just saying that could be one way. But there's ways to look at it from different angles to see stuff that you couldn't normally see when you look at it straight on. Uncommon says the future government slogan, no need for a Second Amendment, get a home defense robot. Wow, that's it. And you know what? That's like the iRobot. That's like that movie iRobot where remember the mom got the robot. I was like, holy smokes. Robot making apple pie. And he was like, yeah, she won him in like some type of lottery. It's crazy because that people already have them. They have videos of robots that they've bought that don't run as smoothly as they were advertised, but they still have the robot. It's like, holy smokes.
Give it time, give it another couple more years. They work out the bugs.
Oh yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah, definitely, man. But yeah, I had a pretty good it was good going on TML stream. I had a good conversation. Good to see Zach in the chat and the other people that came with them. I appreciate everything, man. As Varun, Mr. X, the Mind when he came on last time was cool too. But yeah, I'm gonna see if I could check him out tomorrow, and then I think TML is streaming again tomorrow night, and I told him I'll check him out a little bit. But yeah, you guys have a good night, man. As Varun, Mr. X, everybody in the chat, thank you. Take care. We'll talk again soon.
Have a good night.
Bye, MD. Bye, Mr. X. Good night, everyone.
Have a good night, Ezra.